Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sure. So we start with the first question.
Yeah.
That the Thăng Long Imperial Citadel is one of the biggest heritage in Hanoi, and not only to Hanoi but also to Vietnam. So how do you feel about the heritage, and how do you assess the efforts to preserve and conserve the heritage site of the localities and also the government?
Yeah, so I've been very lucky since my arrival to visit the Citadel on numerous occasions. And every time I go there, I see another aspect of what makes this site such an incredible site, World Heritage Site. I know how important it is to the people of Vietnam, what it means to them, uh, the history behind it, the culture, all the different aspects that make it such a special place. And so I've been thrilled to have the opportunity to visit it many times. Also been there with my family, and they also really enjoyed their visit there. And I think the government of Vietnam and the city of Hanoi have done an incredible job working with UNESCO to preserve the site, to transform it into also the site that it can be. And so the work that's been done over the past years, and certainly in the time since I've been here, these past 6 months, has been incredible to see. And so as UNESCO, we're really thrilled with the way that Vietnam and the city of Hanoi have worked with us to preserve this incredible site for all of humanity.
Thank you. So you have been there a lot of time before?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. um, yeah, so Vietnam has recently placing the importance of culture on par with economics and politics, and also other localities also want to emphasize the role of culture. So what do you think about the direction and attention of the government when they pay attention to culture?
So for us as UNESCO, of course, we're thrilled because we place culture at a very high level in our work. And so we're thrilled when countries also see the importance of culture and the importance of culture in everyone's lives. And as UNESCO, we're trying to place culture at even a higher level in the international agenda. And Vietnam is one of our allies in that respect. And I've had the opportunity to see since my arrival here the importance that Vietnam places on culture. When I participated, for example, in the ceremony for the extension of Ha Long Bay to Cat Ba Island. And it was an incredible evening, an incredible show, and it really demonstrated the importance of culture to not only the central government but also the local governments. And I know that many different localities to which I've been have expressed also their interest in promoting culture as part of their development. And we fully adhere with that and want to support not only Vietnam but the local governments to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope that culture will be promoted more also for tourism, to attract more tourists to come to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we move to the third question. Hanoi has hosted many destinations by UNESCO, including tangible and intangible. So what do you think are the values of these cultural heritages?
So I think culture in all its forms is very important, whether it's built heritage, such as the Tan Long Citadel, or intangible cultural heritage. And we also in Vietnam have a number of designations in that respect. And I think they form a part of what is culture and what is cultural identity. The built heritage is very important, but the intangible cultural heritage is just as important. It's a part of what makes Vietnam, and what makes the Vietnamese people the Vietnamese people. So it's a fundamental from UNESCO's perspective, and we're also thrilled that Vietnam recognizes this and wants all these different parts of their cultural heritage to be recognized by UNESCO and by the world.
Since I was at school as a student, our teachers also always emphasize the importance of UNESCO designations for Vietnam,
Yeah.
tangible and intangible heritages, and I'm a little bit thrilled to discuss with you today on those aspects.
Great.
We move to the fourth question of this topic. So the heritages nominated as UNESCO designated ones need to satisfy a particular set of criteria. So which of the nomination dossiers should be the key to help obtain the approval of UNESCO in terms of heritage?
I don't
What-
quite,
what
quite
we-
understand that question.
We're asking about the set of criteria
Yeah.
by UNESCO, and what are the key criteria for some city to be, or maybe just the criteria to be obtained, to obtain the approval by UNESCO.
Okay, well, it depends on the designations, right? So there are a different set of criteria that apply to different designations. So when you're talking about becoming a World Heritage Site, there's a long list of criteria. For example, for the Tanglong Citadel, some of the criteria that were looked at was the fact that it was a seat of power and government for so many years. Also that it was at the intersection of many, many different cultures over millennia. So there's a series of criteria that we look at for World Heritage sites. The same applies for intangible cultural heritage and for creative cities, which I think this is what you were probably mentioning when you're talking about the cities, what type of criteria they're looking at. And there's a types of creative cities. There's 9 types of creative cities. So, for example, Hanoi is a creative city for design, and there's a number of criteria that they look at when you're putting forward a nomination for that. So it's relatively complex, not that complex, but there's a series of criteria that exist for all these different types of designations, which are looked at, by the Secretariat in Paris when they receive the nomination files from the different countries, including Vietnam.
From my own point of view, I can see that all of the UNDP projects has to tick all the boxes of criteria, and I can see that there are a lot of criteria to be mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah. So the last question for this topic, for heritage sites recognized by UNESCO, what steps do you think Hanoi and Vietnam need to take to conserve and preserve these sites? And how does UNESCO support the conservation efforts of Hanoi when they try to promote and also preserve these heritage sites?
Sure. So for World Heritage Sites, the preservation, of course, of these sites, which are utmost important, both for the country and for humanity as a whole, is very important. And so we work hand in hand with countries and with cities. And coming back to the Tan Long Citadel, where we've been working with Hanoi City and with the government of Vietnam for many years, and this past year, to make sure that the work that's going to be undertaken at the Tan Long Citadel follows all the different criteria and rules that the World Heritage Committee has in place. And Vietnam has been really a fantastic partner in that endeavor. They're very willing to go through all the different steps that need to be taken to ensure that the work is done in the proper way. And so we've been thrilled to have that really strong relationship with Vietnam in order to move that work forward and ensure that it's done in the proper manner.
Thank you. So that's the end of the first topic.
Okay.
Hết rồi, đó là